Right. Getting ready here today.
I am ready.
Right. All right, peace world. And good morning. This is Kimon Freeman broadcasting live on the Rock Side, Martin King Avenue, the Annabella Nation's capital, Foothill, Cedar Hill, the line of the Casa Frederick Douglass on the bicentennial. I'm joined with a very special guest here today. And I did say my name is Kimon, so let me make sure I change my name here. But introducing to the world is Mama Ayo Handy, the founder of Black Love Day. She is a DC legend. She has been doing this work for a number of years. I think this is the 30th anniversary of Black Love Day, February 13th. I'll leave it to you to best tell us what is Black Love Day and what brings us here on WEAC Radio this morning. The floor is yours, Mama Ayo.
Oh, I appreciate that, brother. Come
As I do, as many people should do, name themselves. So I'm gonna change my name and you go right ahead.
You go right ahead, brother. Come on. And you're a legend too in the DC community as the founder of WEAC Radio and as the founder and the director of the Black Love Festival, spelled L-U-V. And I want to give praise and honor to the Most High for all this love that circulates at this time of the year and for this love that I have for you, because you're a fine young man who has been active in our community, taking a stand so that we can increase peace and stop violence. I am blessed to be the founder of Black Love Day. And Black Love Day is actually the fourth oldest commemorative African-American holiday. We like to call it a holy day, W-H-O-L-Y-D-A-Y, so that we can come back to our wholeness as a people. And that instead of just having recreation on holidays, holy days give us the better chance for us to recreate ourselves wholly, the whole, taking in the whole sum of all that we need to bring Black people, people of color, whatever name we call ourselves, melanated people, people who are the original people, and bring us back to our original greatness. As the fourth oldest holy day, we encourage people for the last 30 years to do a simple act, that on the date of February the 13th, as an alternative to Valentine's Day, as a day to just really just unapologetically allow ourselves to love ourselves and be Black, to take care of ourselves. And we encourage forgiveness and atonement and the observance of 5 specific principles so that we can allow ourselves this love in action on this 24-hour period so we can transform ourselves in love. We encourage for 24 hours on February the 13th to show love for the Creator, for ourselves, for our Black family, and for the Black community and the entire Black diaspora, what we call the so-called Black race. On this day, we added in several years after 1993, this declaration of love that whites could also show love in action as part of that fifth principle. The 5 tenets of Black love is another value system. So beyond February the 13th, using that day as a transformative day of love in action and allowing, love to just not just be given as little tokens of romantic expression like Valentine's Day, that instead love in action makes us see a demonstration instead of anti this and standing and rallying against something, instead bringing in a movement of pro-peace, pro-love, so that we can move ourselves in a new direction that enables us to really truly rise above all the oppression that we have experienced, and the sad reality of Black on Black crime and self-hatred, to stop racism, white supremacy, and to give us an African-centered alternative to the often very destructive and very violent Valentine's Day that doesn't come from our community. So it's a different holiday, but it's a holiday that has been definitely embraced now by, well, I used to say hundreds of thousands, but somebody went on Google and told me we have 6 billion entries on the Google search engine about Black Love Day. And so we have Black Love activities in about 8 or 9 different states. Canada just contacted me. They say they Black Love Canada. The UK has Black Love activities. We have Black Love activities in Georgia, St. Louis, New York, New Jersey, Philadelphia, Richmond, Virginia, and definitely the Baltimore, Maryland area and the entire DMV. And there's Black Love activities and services and parties and gatherings and ceremonies. And so we have officially pulled together all of the Black Love activities now into a Black Love Movement Month. So that beyond February the 13th, we will continue to pull together a coalition of people who are continuing to support this very important need in our community.
Now, you said that there are a list of activities that people could participate in to honor and commemorate Black Love Day. Let's get into some of those activities and what they look like. But what comes to my mind is that another sister that I'm so I consider a hero is Medea Benjamin from Code Pink, Women for Peace. And I attended a rally that they put together, and they had all these white people marching to the MPD headquarters to renounce their whiteness and privilege. They was there to renounce their privilege in the protection of Black lives, you know. So what is that something you would support for white people to patronize and commemorate Black love, and what else could they be doing, and what more should Black people be doing to commemorate in terms of actions on February 13th each and every year?
That really is an excellent question, and I have hung out with Medea Benjamin, and she's very sincere about her humanity. And that's the goal of Black Love Day, to help us come back to the sense of humanity. You know, race is a social construct that was created, and it keeps us divided and separated. But Black Love Day helps us have activities for people who look like me, people of color, Black folks, and so-called white folks. On 24 hours this year, to celebrate our 30th anniversary, we're having our third official relationship event on February the 13th. We're encouraging people on February the 13th to get out into their community with a moratorium on violence in honor of Tyre Nichols, and that across the world, we're asking that we
that's such a sad case.
Sad case. I mean, still hurts to my heart. As a mother who lost a son to violence in the street, I took it real personal. And I mean, it just gets more.
And I'm surprised that the right-wing detractors haven't labeled that Black on Black crime.
Yeah, that's
it's
true.
so easy to say it because, you know, the crime is permitted by those who you know in your community. That's just the fact of the matter is.
And that's the truth. And they don't have to say it. You know, we have to say it, because we're the only ones who's going to change the reality of our situation. And I believe through our Black love, you know, Black police supposed to be the guardians of a society, but they are also have been conditioned by the perpetuators of this system of white supremacy racism. And so I could look at the Black folks and assume that because of the color of their skin, that they are my ally. But that has never been my reality. I found out a long time ago, and I've been in this movement for over 50 years, that everybody looks like me and wears African clothes and wears their hair natural and sports the rhetoric. That doesn't mean that in their heart that they have not been trained. And so I call those who perpetuate white supremacy racism, no matter what color they are, that they are the agents of that system. They are amongst us, and they continue to confuse us because they are really destructive, because of course we assume that they are in our corner. So I've been able to hang out with people like Sister Benjamin, and I've been able to really see her heart. And I've been able to find out that because despite the color of her skin, that she has been a real true ally in our community. So we can no longer no longer, never could, but we really no longer, in the face of this sad, sad picture of Black people killing, stomping, I mean, just destroying this young man in every way that you could imagine, destroying a young man just simply because. And so this day, we're going to honor him. We're going to honor him, and we're going to honor all victims of violence, domestic violence, police brutality violence, relationship violence, and yes, Black on Black violence, because we got to address it. And we got to, put a blind eye to it. So that's our moratorium on violence. We're calling the nation to this moratorium. Just found out that perpetuators of white racism are approaching Duke Ellington High School, the high school that my son, Aiko Handy, Dave Chappelle, Lamar Rucker, and some other, Debbie Allen, some very profound people have been associated with and who have graduated from. They're trying, the perpetuators of white racism and white supremacy are now trying to pull this school out of its neighborhood. And I think Duke Ellington has been in this neighborhood, Georgetown, that was predominantly Black, right? That then became a white neighborhood. Okay, so once again, they're standing up as they're being encouraged to be put out of their own community again.
And they're proposing a direct action at the mayor's office building in 1350 Pennsylvania Avenue. That is the Pennsylvania Avenue, the nation's capital, Duke Ellington, on Black Love Day, February 13th. And they will be there at 10 a.m.
We endorse it. The African American Holiday Association, of which I represent, that I founded, the Stewart's Black Love Day. I give official endorsement of that love and action activity. We want to stand up as a tenant for the love of our so-called race and for our community in such an action. So we're asking people to do such actions, whites and folks of people of color. And leading up to February the 13th, we're having a virtual summit. It's our third virtual Black Love Summit. It's about 30 different presenters that will be talking about everything from self-love, self-care, Black on Black self-hatred, people who've been incarcerated, how do we love them more, how there's a serious issue about grief and trauma around violence that starts from the cradle to the grave. There's all sorts of good relationship panels for couples. We got some profound people like Iyanla Vanzant, who's going to be a part of this experience on the 13th with the—
Congratulations.
Yes, and Sister Maimuna Yosef, aka Moo Moo Fresh, who I am just so— yeah, I'm so proud of her.
She's married now.
Oh, I'm telling you, she stood up to the Grammys and said that we need a social justice column for the music that reflects the times that we live in. And I'm not sure if she won, but I know she was nominated. So this is a nominated Grammy Award-winning person born right here in the DMV area and raised in DC. She's going to do a sound healing workshop and a mini concert. We got people like Freedom in Saroma L, another songbird who has a national awareness, having sung early on with some big luminaries, and she's, returning back to our platform on our Black Love Party on Saturday night. We got things like Audrey Scott Williams, the sister who walked for peace, and we've got Ivy Hilton, who will be with us on the Sunday evening memorial service, and for Tyree Nichols. And we're going to breathe and we're going to release. And just so many activities. It's so hard to name them. Talking about the value of Black bookstores, as community centers, talking and giving—
Shout out to Mahogany Books. I just want to give them a shout out. Mahogany Books.
Oh, Mahogany Books is—
oh,
my sister Ramunda. Yes,
they showed me so much love this past weekend with Walter Mosley at the Pratt Free Library in Baltimore. They had their Black book. Was it the Book and Breakfast, the 35th anniversary of their Black History Month Book and Breakfast event, and Walter Mosley there, and it was sold out.
Oh,
There was no more
wonderful.
tickets allowed.
Oh,
I could not get in, and Mahogany Books shared their table with me.
oh,
Uh,
that's so
yes,
wonderful.
yes.
That's so wonderful.
Just had
And
to make sure I shouted them out.
well, you gotta shout, Sister
See,
Ramunda.
that was Black love right there.
That was
That was
Black
Black
love.
love. They
That's
would
right.
not accept my money to get in, but the love allowed me in the door and gave me a seat at the table.
Well, you deserved it because you're always giving of your time and your energy. And Ramunda's that type of sister who started coming to a Black love event some 20 years ago. And she is a very pivotal part of our Black Love Coalition. So she will continue to posture Black love in our communities way beyond February the 13th. You know, come on, we always say it's not only where you go on Black Love Day and come to the events and the programs. And, you know, AHA really needs you all to support this program. Come out, enjoy it. It's open to the public. You can go to Eventbrite to register. You can go to the website, www.africanamericanholidays.org. It's an S on holidays. So, you know, just in case you get lost, just look up my name, Ayo Handy Kendi. You'll see me all over Google talking about Black Love Day. But it's really what we do on this period of
That
time.
website is included on this live stream, so people can go directly to that link. I just want to say one more thing about Moo Fresh. For those who are outside of DMV and our listening audience, they should know of Moo Fresh. She's on Tiny Desk. You mentioned she was Grammy nominated. She has performed with every top tier hip hop artist out here today. They all know about her prowess. She has the skills and the vocal range of a Lauryn Hill. MC, sing, Moo is the total package. So cannot say enough about the power of Moo Fresh. So please look her up and add her into your playlist if you do not already know about that Black girl magic. Now, Ayo, and for those who just joined, we were Ayo Handy. She is the founder of Black Love Day. This is the 30th anniversary of Black Love Day, February 13th, 2023. And it's the cultural alternative to the commercialization of Valentine's Day and the commodification of love. This is love in action. Like, you can't just tell somebody you love them, you have to show them. And I think that's what Black Love Day is about. It's about showing love, not saying it, showing it.
Showing it, yes.
But what would you say to people that says in the real application, in the real world, that love doesn't work? We are in a situation where we might be on the brink of a nuclear holocaust. You know, the great Dr. Amos Wilson says that two white men threatening to destroy the entire planet that's majority not white, and we're all hoping that they get along, is the quintessential definition of white supremacy. And so here we are with Russia and America on this proxy war, and you saying that we should all observe and commemorate Black Love Day by refraining from any acts of violence. Wouldn't it be wonderful if we saw a ceasefire in that conflict in Ukraine, where that there's no one wins, that we all to continue to acknowledge that Ukraine should be a neutral space, just like Sweden and whatever. They could be neutral and everybody can go home and we can go back to rebuilding that country back up. So, you know, these are things that we should be amplifying. I think that's what you're doing. Why are we not hearing enough about, as you said, pro-love and pro-peace? I remember when Congresswoman, what is her name? Barbara, in Oakland, California. Her name is escaping me. Congresswoman Barbara something.
I got Barbara's name on my head right now too.
Yeah, and she proposed a Department of Peace, and they practically laughed her out of Congress. And there weren't just white people doing it either, you know, because as we said this off camera, whenever they had lynchings, there was an audience. You know, there was an audience for that, and we got to stop giving an audience to anything that doesn't doesn't promote peace.
That's
you know,
right. That's right.
And Martin Luther King talked about that. He said a nation that continues to spend more on military defense instead of programs of social uplift is approaching spiritual doom. I think you are proposing to be the savior of this planet. It's just that it's just that serious. You say you had millions and billions of hits. because maybe we need more love. The Black Love Festival this year was the biggest it's ever been. You know, I think it's our time. So I'm so glad that you are standing up and still standing strong. And I see that little award back there on the shelf. Look a little familiar.
You
Look a
see
little
my award?
familiar.
Can you see it?
Yeah, look at that. Now tell us about this symbol for those who don't know what that symbol is.
That's right. This is, let me see if I can move it without knocking all the beautiful gemstones here. I was so, let's see. Yeah, there you go. Ah, it's so heavy.
Yeah, I was about to be impressed. You can pick that thing up with one hand.
I know it. I see this thing is heavy. I can't.
It's
pick it
all
up
good.
with one
Just
hand.
tell them.
Go. Oh, here we go. I got it. I had to get up. Y'all had to see my little butt. This is why it's important for us to have an understanding of a Black Love Day in this symbolism in and of itself. This is actually the Akoma, Akoma. It's an African symbol, an Adinkra symbol.
You mean that the heart that they use for Valentine's Day is actually an African symbol?
Yes, I mean just that. This symbol was co-opted in the 18th century by people who began to promote this Valentine's Day concept. And they changed the nature of the symbol by filling it in. The original symbol is an open heart. An open heart compared to a closed heart makes a total definitive symbolism that is expressive of Europeans' ability to continue to promote all this inhumanity against inhumanity because their heart was closed. They were given a 52 edict by their Pope to go forth and just, colonize and change the nature of the so-called pagans who were supposedly people of color. And they went about this in a horrible, savage, brutal way that enslaved millions of people and conquered lands all over this world. That closed heart made them feel that they were superior and that they had the right to do this. And this closed heart continues today. And so when we look at a Valentine and we're given these little tokens of expression of a Valentine, and we're saying this is only about romantic love, which is what Valentine's Day tends to promote. They don't promote the brotherly and sister agape love. They don't promote the whole love of the whole family, from the parental love and the love for our children and the love for the community like Black Love Day does. This European concept of love has to be walked away from. And we've been conditioned to accept all these holidays and celebrations and rituals that don't really relate to our community and for the needs that we must have to bring African people back to wholeness. And so just the very symbolism needs to be rejected. And we need to be embracing the Akoma, an Adinkra symbol that means be patient, get a heart, return to love. And our expression on Black Love Day is Inya Akoma, which identifies this symbol. And it simply says to each other that we must be patient with each other. We must endure. We must have goodwill. We must have reconciliation. We must gather in our African-centered circles, because the circles in itself express the concept of community, which is symbolized as unity, connection, which means love. We got to come back to everything in what I'm calling loveology. That in loveology, we have to practice the footsteps of Dr. Martin Luther King, who used love in the face of tremendous oppression in the civil rights era. We have to practice love coming back to Mahatma Gandhi, who fought the British from a love-based perspective, and Mother Teresa and Brother Barber over here in California talking about coming back to the moral community, right? We have to have the sense of love as a transformative vibrational ability to shift us, change us, elevate us, and move whole groups of people who are standing there with hate, because love has a much higher vibration than hate. And our Jesus, the Christ, the prophet, spoke of love and acted in love. And so love is a tremendous healing force. It is the vibrational frequency that if you want to grow and change and pull together something very, very life-changing within yourself and within all who are around you, you want to practice love. And so loveology is my new word to describe all of us loveologists.
I love it.
who
Shout
are
out
acting in love.
shout out to a go-go band Junkyard. They have a song called Love Soul Crank. Love Soul Crank. It's a positive song. And I want to shout out and to Daryl Brooks, who was instrumental behind that new record, Love Soul Crank by Junkyard.
Love
And
Soul Crank.
I want to give a shout out to Congresswoman Barbara Lee is her
That's
name.
her name. Well, I couldn't think of Barbara Lee, and I
Yes.
love that sister. I've spoken.
Absolutely. Barbara Lee is a leading voice for global peace and security. In Congress, she works to reduce conflict in wars, advance human rights, promote diplomacy, and address the conditions that spark violence. She served as a representative of the 68th and 70th United Nations General Assemblies. And following the horrific events of September 11th, Congresswoman Barbara Lee cast the lone vote, the only vote against the overly broad authorization for the use of military force. If they had only listened to this Black woman, Afghanistan could have been avoided. The Iraq War could have been avoided. The longest struggle in American history could have been avoided if they had just listened to her, because no one from Afghanistan and no one from Iraq was on those planes in 9/11. None of them. None of them. They're always from Yemen and Saudi Arabia, mostly Saudi Arabia, who has the largest embassy in the nation's capital. So we really need to be asking some serious questions with love. Now, before we go, Martin Luther King says that peace is not the absence of violence, it's the presence of justice. I thought that was profound to come from King. Now, I would say to you, and I want to hear your feedback, if that's the case, and I believe it is, then if love is not just the absence of conflict, it's the presence of respect. Because I can love you and we can argue, fuss, and fight, but because I respect you, it's never going to get ugly. It's always going to be above belt. And maybe if we embrace loveology, then we don't have to be lovey-dovey. We're going to have enough respect that I refuse to have any humanity against humanity.
I
That's
love
my
that.
submission.
Yes, I mean, that's truly what the concept of love is about. It is about allowing you to disagree. And that doesn't mean that
Not being violently disagreeable.
Right. Yeah. We don't have to, and love also doesn't have to have that kind of kumbaya, we just all swaying in the wind, and it's it's all soapy and all romantic, because that's what this Valentine's imagery has led us to, only marginalizing love only as if it's about romance. No. 6 + 4 = 10, and 1 + 9 = 10, and 5 + 5 = 10. As long as we get to 10, how we allow ourselves to agree to disagree has to be done in love. So think of how many relationships break up because things get argumentative and then violent, and then love is fragmented. And it's difficult to reclaim. And so forgiveness is very much a deep, intrinsic part of love. It took me a long time to come back to my loveology, my love need, to begin to re-embrace white people, because my original orientation at 19, I went to Okinawa and I faced all this heavy racism. When I came back to DC, boy, I was on the front line. I was pissed off, mad at them folks. And I ain't want to hear nothing about we embracing and coming together. But I evolved. I evolved like Brother Malcolm evolved to begin to understand that humanity all started with us. And then to be human means to be an African. And in understanding that, Dr. Tyreen Wright, who will be with us talking about the ideology of racism, she'll be at the summit. Her work is profound and on the platform I Love Black People, where she is really beginning to teach an ideology that says that being the first, that means we are the teachers. And as the parents, we have to help not only ourselves come back to who we are as the original people of humanity, but that we must teach others who are from us that it's only through some way that we can get past all this conditioning. And, we know it's not going to be easy. We know I get questioned all the time. People love Black Love Day until we start talking about showing love and action for whites to show love and action. And I've been able to stand up to understand that the Creator gave me that message about Black Love Day, and that I have to be responsible to share the message that humanity started with us. And it's only us that's going to have to be able to use simple tools. And this very simple tool is showing love and compassion in the face of oppression, in the face of our enemy. The resilience that brought us through so much is what we're still going to have to deal with to change our own conditions around. Can't wait for anybody to do for us what we must do for ourselves. So Black Love Day is a day of transformation. It's a day to stop the violence, increase the peace. It's a day of pro-peace in every aspect of showing love and action. It's a day that if we use these loving principles, that we ourselves will transform. We say peace begins with me. As we transform individually, then we can share that peace into our families, our community, and our entire so-called race of people of African descent.
Okay. Now you invoked the name of Malcolm. So I have 2 points to make before we get out of here.
Sure.
One is invoking the name of Malcolm. Tell our listening audience how Malcolm was a part of the genesis of Black Love Day.
Yes,
then
truly.
Secondly, you also are expert in breathing.
I'm a breathologist.
Breathologist. So
Yes.
how does breathologist actually contribute to peace building? Because oftentimes we've seen it, when people about to go off and it's rah rah rah, and they want to calm them down, say just take a breath.
That's true.
So you invoke Malcolm. How did he? What role did he play in the genesis of Black Love Day? And how does your work with breathology, as a breathologist, play into peace building and showing love in action?
I appreciate that. I did not think of Black Love Day. I did not sit down and plan it. I was given a spiritual message from the Creator as I had left the theater and seeing the movie Malcolm X that was created by Brother Spike Lee. And the graphic portrayal that Spike Lee showed on the screen of Black men killing my hero. Her is my hero, Malcolm's my hero. And I couldn't get that scene out of my head. It's done so really graphic. And as I left the theater, I got on a bus coming home, and unusually sunny day in DC, and through the sunlight of the bus, as I said out loud, just reliving the scene over and over again, what can I do to stop violence? And I've been an organizer, I've been doing holiday work and for years, but that particular day in 1993, I was motivated to ask that question because I was so moved. And I heard the Creator say, we need more Black love. We need more Black love. And I kept hearing the voice of God. It was as if the voice filtered through the sunlight of the room. And, it was profound to me. And so for another 40 days, the voice kept saying, we need more Black love. We need more Black love. And then people started coming out the woodwork and books started falling off the shelf and all sorts of synthesis of African-centered understanding about love came to me. The number 13 came from Tony Browder's book, The Browder's File. They talked about number 13 being a spiritual transformational number as opposed to the number 14, which has its own energy, but that the 13th would be the better way to have an alternative to this 14th day of Valentine's Day. And so we had our first Black Love Day activity at the mayor's office in DC, and Sister Dorothy Gilliam of the Washington Post heard me talk about it on a radio show, attributing the inspiration from this message that I received. That said that we needed more Black love after seeing the movie Malcolm X. And how does breath then translate? I just saw a message that said the National Institute of Health has done a research that shows that Black children's brains have a detrimental showing because of racism, and that there's a degree of atrophy in the brain. And so I've been waiting for that study because I knew myself of all that I have been doing with the study of breath since also 20, when I was 19 years old. The 50 years of work with breathing has shown me that in holding our breath behind our fears, behind our pain, our traumas, all the microaggressions and the macroaggressions that Black people deal with from day to day, and what white people in their fear and what they do to perpetuate a system to keep people in bondage and oppression and suppression, this means that they hold in their breath too. So I had seen studies about how racism had affected communities, white people and Black people, and how now the National Institute of Health is now documenting what it's doing to our children. We have to breathe through this system. We have to use our breath because it brings oxygen into our cells, which pushes out the stress and trauma. And there are 60 or more stress-related illnesses based on stress alone. So every time we're in fear, we hold our breath. You go to a movie and you see people sitting there all hunched up shoulders, they're holding their breath, some horror movie, okay? Or seeing violence. There had already been studies that in communities where there's drive-by shootings, that the children are underdeveloped because of the fear and they're holding their breath. And as a product of a father who was abused as a child, who was verbally abused and then physically abused, that stuffed the memory of the abuse in my subconscious memory that didn't come out until, this started when I was 8 until I was about 13. I held my breath through about 4 years in fear and trauma of my dad, and through all sorts of ways in which it affected my nervous system. I drank and I drove, but I did breath techniques and back and forth and what have you. But the aspect of holding my breath had affected my subconscious memory, the below the surface in which this brain is hardwired to protect us when we're under stress and trauma. So think of the generations, intergenerational pain and trauma that has been held and suppressed in our nervous system, and how we have to breathe through it, which is another part of this movement of love. We have to go back and we have to really live some of that stuff, because energy never dies. Energy always stays in our nervous system. So if we've been holding and suppressing our breath, we've been actually killing ourselves for a long, long time. That's why we have disproportionate ill health in Black communities and in marginalized poor communities too. They hold their breath a lot too. So holding our breath has a clear, distinctive relationship in this movement towards peace. We have to breathe through this pain. We got to breathe through generations of ill health, of holding our breath. We have to breathe to elevate our consciousness, because the breath is the tool that is the easiest thing we can change to affect the spirit, the mind, and the body. Simple tool that we can use 24/7.
Well,
And
how
so
often has it been said that, if I want to pray for peace, world peace, or don't hold your breath, you
That's
hear
right.
the cliche. But Mama Ayo Handy, thank you for the work you've done and continue to do. Thank you for joining us here today. I
appreciate
hope
you
that
so
you
much.
continue to grow and expand with your messaging. I hope that Black Love Day continues to be not only a symbolism of world peace and improving the conditions of our people in this country and around the world, but it actually could reach the top tier of government, so they can hear these calls for peace. Because if Congresswoman Barbara Lee was laughed at because she would propose a Department of Peace that could have avoided wars and saved millions of lives, and that was enough for her to be criticized, then we should point out the fallacy, the insane notion that a nuclear holocaust to resolve differences is a viable option.
Yes, that's
So,
true.
let's leave with the words of Martin Luther King, the Prince of Love. He said, "Hatred paralyzes life, love releases it. Hatred confuses life, love harmonizes it. Hatred darkens life, and love illuminates it." That's Martin Luther King, and we are here on the radical side of Martin Luther King Avenue, the nation's capital in Washington, D.C., with the founder of Black Love Day, who was inspired by her hero, Malcolm X. Mama, thank you again. Look forward to seeing you soon. And unfortunately, I won't be with you today on Black Love Day this year. I will be in Cuba.
Oh, okay.
At the Cuban Book Festival, because I'm about to have the honor of being the title of author attached to my name on March 22nd on World Water Day. So I'm being in Cuba at the book festival, but I'm sending you love from there. All right.
All right, I appreciate you. And I'm going to send you back that greeting and ask that the Creator watch over you and all your travels and all your work, brother. Come on. And in the greeting, in your Akoma, I send that to you so that we can return to love, that you always stay in love. And as we return to love, to stop the violence, increase the peace, returning us to love, to heal all of our relationships, I give you that greeting with all of my
And that's the love symbol.
heart.
And that's the love. We talking about what kind? That's the love symbol.
That's right, with all of my heart. That's right.
Open heart, open mind. Bless you.
Yes.
See you soon. One love.
One
African
love.
American Holidays with an S.org, people.
Yes. Give thanks.
Peace.
Peace.